They are trying to bury a man alive, not with shovels and earth, but with accusations and the weight of the law. In this moment, the world watches as the line between justice and spectacle blurs. The air is thick with tension, and the stakes could not be higher. And yet, they want us to applaud as if it were justice unfolding before our eyes. The audience, both in Brazil and around the globe, is expected to accept this performance, to cheer for the outcome, regardless of the script's integrity. But applause does not always mean approval. Sometimes, it is the only response left when the play is already written. On July 15, 2025, Brazil stands at a crossroads. The Attorney General's office formally requests the Supreme Federal Court to convict former President Jair Bolsonaro, accusing him of orchestrating a coup plot. The world's eyes are fixed on Brasília, as the nation's highest court is asked to decide not just the fate of a man, but the direction of a democracy. Is this the triumph of democracy? A moment where the rule of law prevails over chaos? Or is it the public execution of a political rival, dressed up in the language of justice to mask a deeper power struggle? The answer may depend on where you sit in the theater. The charges are grave: attempted coup, violent abolition of the democratic state, criminal organization. Each accusation carries the weight of history and the potential to reshape the nation's future. These are not just legal terms. They are weapons in a battle for Brazil's soul. But is this truly justice being served? Or are we witnessing a carefully choreographed act of political theater? The stage is set, the actors are in place, and the script seems predetermined. The difference between a fair trial and a show trial can be razor thin. We must ask ourselves, are we witnessing a genuine pursuit of truth, or a spectacle designed to reinforce the power of those already in control? Is the process transparent, or are key voices and evidence being silenced behind closed doors? Or is this a carefully scripted finale? A closing act meant to silence dissent and send a warning to anyone who dares to challenge the status quo. The curtain may be falling, but the consequences will linger long after the applause fades. The precedent set here will echo far beyond Bolsonaro himself. It will ripple through the halls of power, shaping the boundaries of political opposition and the meaning of justice for generations to come. In the end, this moment will help define the fate of every future opposition voice in Brazil. The world is watching, and history will remember not just the verdict, but the way the play was staged. Let's dissect the accusations. The Attorney General's office claims Bolsonaro orchestrated a calculated conspiracy, using state power to radicalize supporters and threaten democracy. The charges: attempted coup, violent abolition of the democratic state, armed criminal organization, and damage to national heritage. High-ranking military and political figures, Generals Heleno, Braga Neto, Admiral Garnier, are named as co-conspirators. But where is the concrete evidence of a coordinated plan beyond the chaos of January 8th? Is this a genuine unmasking of a conspiracy, or a narrative crafted to fit the political moment? What is the real evidence? The case leans on testimony and documents. Drafts of decrees for a state of siege, rejected by military commanders who refused to support unconstitutional action. Digital messages and plea bargains from Bolsonaro's aide, Mauro Cid, are presented as proof. But plea deals always invite skepticism. Are these drafts and discussions evidence of a coup or desperate talk from a defeated administration? Justice should punish actions, not thoughts or rejected plans. Is this prosecution about preventing real threats or criminalizing political desperation? The Supreme Federal Court, especially Minister Alexandre de Moraes, stands at the very center of this growing storm, drawing intense scrutiny from all sides. Can a judge so deeply embroiled in the conflict truly be impartial, or does involvement inevitably color judgment? The STF's increasingly activist role, ordering arrests, censoring social media, blurs the line between justice and politics, raising new questions. The trial's remarkable speed suggests a rush to judgment, not a careful or thorough search for the truth. The court's credibility now hangs in the balance, depending on whether Brazilians see this as true justice or simply retribution. Whatever the verdict, it will almost certainly deepen national divisions, not resolve them, leaving the country more fractured. January 8, 2023, the invasion of government buildings, haunts this trial. The echoes of that day still reverberate through Brazil's political landscape, casting a long shadow over the proceedings. The images of shattered glass, frantic crowds, and the chaos that unfolded in the heart of Brasília are impossible to forget. For many, it was a moment that changed the nation's sense of security and trust in its institutions. The prosecution claims the riots were the inevitable result of Bolsonaro's rhetoric, casting him as the architect of chaos. They argue that his words, repeated over months, stoked the flames of unrest and emboldened his supporters to take drastic action. In their view, the violence was not spontaneous, but the culmination of a deliberate campaign to undermine democracy. But is it fair to hold one man responsible for the actions of thousands? Can a single leader truly control the unpredictable tide of collective anger and frustration? Or are there deeper forces at play? Currents of discontent that run beneath the surface of society, waiting for a spark. The anger of Bolsonaro's supporters was real, fueled by distrust in institutions and a sense of disenfranchisement. Many felt their voices were ignored, their votes discounted, and their future uncertain. This resentment did not appear overnight. It was built over years of political polarization, economic hardship, and social division. Reducing January 8th to a coup orchestrated from above oversimplifies a complex reality. The truth is tangled, with many actors, motivations, and grievances intersecting. The events of that day were the result of a web of influences, political, social, and personal, that cannot be traced to a single source. Justice demands more than a scapegoat. It requires understanding cause and effect. To truly heal, Brazil must look beyond blame and seek to understand the roots of division. Only then can the nation move forward, learning from the past rather than repeating it. Was Bolsonaro the mastermind or a leader who lost control of his movement? The answer may not be simple. It may lie somewhere in the gray area between intent and consequence, between leadership and chaos. A question that Brazil and the world must continue to grapple with. For millions, this is not justice, it's persecution. Bolsonaro's supporters see him as a political martyr, targeted by a system determined to silence him and his movement. They point to selective justice, censorship, and the speed of investigations as proof of bias. Every legal blow only deepens their sense of grievance and distrust in institutions. The judiciary's actions, meant to protect democracy, are convincing many that democracy itself is a sham. This pursuit is fueling a rift that may be impossible to heal. We stand at a crossroads, Bolsonaro's fate now entwined with Brazil's democracy. The choices we make in this moment will echo for generations, shaping not only the future of one man, but the very soul of a nation. The world is watching as Brazil faces a test of its institutions, its values, and its people's resolve. A conviction will be seen by some as justice finally served, a sign that no one is above the law. For others, it will be proof that the system is rigged, manipulated by those in power to silence dissent. The courtroom becomes a stage, and every decision is scrutinized, debated, and dissected by millions. An acquittal, on the other hand, will be hailed as vindication by Bolsonaro's loyal supporters, a triumph over what they see as political persecution. Yet for his opponents, it will feel like a failure of justice, a missed opportunity to hold leaders accountable, and a blow to faith in the system. No verdict, no matter how carefully considered, will unite the country. Each outcome threatens to deepen the divide, fueling anger, suspicion, and mistrust between neighbors, friends, and families. The nation stands on edge, uncertain of what tomorrow will bring. In these turbulent times, we must look beyond the headlines and the noise. We must question all sides, challenge our own assumptions, and demand transparency from those in power. Only by seeking out the full story can we hope to understand what is truly at stake. The truth rarely fits neatly into black and white. It lies in the gray area between coup and witch hunt, between justice and vengeance. It is up to us to search for it, even when the answers are uncomfortable or unclear. The future of Brazilian democracy depends on our willingness to seek the truth, to listen to one another, and to choose a path forward together. In this defining moment, the choices we make will shape the destiny of a nation.